Good morning, everyone. I think you know my name, but I'm going to say it anyway. My name is Caleb Gunawan. I have a question for you. Do you ever feel like you're not strong enough when you face something bad? Or do you ever feel scared? Please raise your hand if you ever felt scared. I, for one, have felt scared before. But don't tell my mom and dad I'm also scared right now talking in front of you, so, okay, yeah. I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 4 years old. Here's one of the moments that I felt scared. This was when I had surgery to remove my tumor. I was scared because, what if it hurts? What would happen after the surgery? I also felt like I wasn't strong enough. I didn't eat for days. I threw up. I lost weight. I didn't have energy. I felt weak. I felt scared a lot during my cancer journey. But looking back, somehow I had this strength that I never knew I had. And I believe that God gave me that strength. My family always reminds me that God is with me. God is always with us. I have to be strong, just like Caleb in the Bible. My parents told me one time when I was getting chemo, I said, "Chemo is easy. You just sit and play Lego." I wasn't afraid of chemo. I never complained about going to the hospital. I'm not scared of getting poked. I know and believe that God gave me the strength throughout my cancer journey. God gave my parents the strength to take care of me. God gave me all of you to keep me strong. It is only because of God that I can be here, standing in front of you. My strengths only come from God. Life has many ups and downs. It is normal to be scared, but know that God will give you the strength and courage to face them all. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Amen.
The verse that Caleb read is on the T-shirts that many of us have, the Courageous Caleb T-shirts. It's Joshua 1:9, and it comes from this passage at the beginning of the book of Joshua, where God is speaking to Joshua and saying, "As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. I hereby command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." The word of the Lord. The Israelites left Egypt, where they were in bondage, and there's a whole story of how they got to the point where the Egyptians basically chased them out. They said, "Get out, take this stuff with you, we don't want to see you again." And so the Israelites, en masse, this giant group of people, nation of people, heads out into the wilderness on their journey. And they come to a sea. And they camp at the sea, wondering what's going to happen next. And around that time, the Egyptians changed their minds. And Pharaoh and his army comes chasing after them into the wilderness. And there the Israelites are, camped between Pharaoh's advancing army and this sea, through which they see no way through. They can't. They're stuck. They are stuck between the army and the sea. And they say to Moses, "Are there not enough graves in Egypt that you had to bring us out in the wilderness to die?" Rhetorically, that is such a wonderful line, isn't it? Are there not enough graves in Egypt that you had to bring us out here to die? What was the plan anyway? What did you think was going to happen, Moses? We'd come out in the wilderness, this body of water we got to get through, and somehow we've got to eat, and somehow we've got to have water in the wilderness, and we don't know where we're going. What were you thinking? Were there not enough graves in Egypt? And Moses says, "Stand firm and see the salvation of God." Stand firm and see the salvation of God. Now you know the rest of the story, so I'm not going to rehearse it. And if you don't, Exodus chapter 14. I've been thinking lately about courage. And some of that's because of Caleb. Some of it's knowing his story. Some of it's visiting him in the hospital in New York through his treatment. Some of his just knowing what he went through, what he's gone through, and the strength required and the courage to face that day after day. But I will confess that as a Mennonite pastor, I have some of the biases often associated with Mennonite pastors. And one is that I am suspicious of the martial virtues, the military virtues. Heroism and strength and honor and bravery. And if you read the New Testament and if you look at the cardinal Christian virtues, you will find that the military virtues are largely absent. You'll see things like peace and kindness and love and gentleness and generosity and faith. Things like that are the virtues cherished by Christian faith. So I've been thinking about this, kind of wrestling with this. Because surely courage is lifted up in these stories, in this story, as a good thing, as a virtue. And as I've thought about this, it's occurred to me that Christian courage only exists as a byproduct, if you will, of faith. We don't have courage because we believe in ourselves, because we are amazing people. We are competent, capable, heroic people that are going to overcome. That's not in our faith. It's not part of what it means to be a Christian. We have courage. We take risks. We stand firm, if you will, because we believe in the salvation of God, because we have faith. Important distinction. Our courage, our willingness to stand firm, our persistence, our perseverance only exists because we believe in the action of God in our lives and in the world. The news has been dominated by the Russian invasion of Ukraine lately. And most of us, I think, are aware of what's going on there. And shortly after the initial invasion in February of Ukraine by Russian forces, there was a group of Eastern Orthodox theologians and priests and pastors who wrote an open letter to Patriarch Kirill, the Patriarch of Moscow, criticizing Kirill's support, kind of spiritual support for the Russian invasion and for the Russian world ideology of Vladimir Putin and of his regime. Fiercely critical, you might say. And calling on him to stand up to Putin and to stand up to this ideology. Well, if you look at the signatories, you will notice that not one of them was actually in Russia. And so there was blowback. And there were people saying, well, that's easy for you to say. You're asking somebody else to have courage that is not being asked of you. And one of the signatories responded, and it's given me pause, and I'm kind of like, whoa, what do I think of this? Responded that when Patriarch Kirill took the crown, there's a crown that the patriarchs wear, the crown of a patriarch, he took on the crown of a martyr. To be a patriarch is to be willing to be a martyr, to be willing to be faithful to God to the point of death, to witness. That's what a martyr means. A martyr is a witness, to witness to God to the point of death. And this response goes on. Every priest, in the Eastern Orthodox perspective, every priest takes on the same crown, the same mantle, the crown of a martyr, to be courageous to the point of death. Now, what startled me is that we don't have priests, we don't have patriarchs. We used to have bishops, we don't anymore as Mennonites. We use the language of a priesthood of all believers. Each and every Christian is called to wear the crown of martyrdom, to be courageous to the point of death. That's what I've been thinking about. Do I have that kind of courage to be faithful, to witness to God in that way? Now, as we read Jesus, this is what Jesus asks of us. Now, Jesus has some hard asks, doesn't he? I mean, he's pretty challenging stuff there, right? If you read Jesus, we kind of try to soft pedal it a little bit, but Jesus is asking a lot of his disciples to wear the crown of martyrdom. It's crucial, it's absolutely crucial when we think about this, that we understand that this is in the context of faith. In the context of a belief that what gives our lives meaning, the destination of our lives, the telos in Greek, the completion of our lives, the purpose of our lives is to be found in God. Not in our own accomplishments, not in our own competence, not in our own bravery, but in who God is and what God does in our lives. And when we live into that reality, martyrdom, the courage of martyrdom becomes possible. Now, in the early Christians, some of them got kind of reckless. And recklessness became a controversy in the early church because people were doing really dumb things in order to become martyrs, taking unnecessary risks, really. Not living faithful lives that led to martyrdom, but actually kind of seeking it out. And so this had to be put down. I mean, you had to be clear that this kind of recklessness is not acceptable. Martyrdom comes in the context of a faithful Christian life. I want to invite us to that kind of courage, that kind of risk-taking. I want to invite us to that willingness to enter into the wilderness with complete and total uncertainty about where we're going, confident that God is with us, confident that the meaning and purpose of our lives is sure in who God is. Now, each of us in our lives has or will be in that place, the place where Caleb has been. Maybe not with cancer, but surely something. A place in our lives where we feel stuck, where we feel like we're between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea. We don't see a way through. We're lost. The path is uncertain. Remember, when you are at that place, and some of you are at that place right now, stand firm and see the salvation of God. That doesn't mean there's going to be magic in your life. That doesn't necessarily mean the waters are going to part for a way through. But it reminds you that God is with you. God is present with you. It reminds you, whatever befalls, whatever happens to you, your life has meaning and purpose, and your destination is sure. Amen.